Okay, people, I got about 5.5 minutes to do this because that's the point where my phone keeps shutting off. This is actually the video that I believe I should have really been my first video because it's sort of like a mission statement to kind of tell you what this particular YouTube channel is going to be about. So in order to go forward, we're going to actually go backwards first so you can kind of understand my passion for nature and being outside, or anything associated with the outdoors. A lot of it stems from my childhood, being at my grandma's house, my nana's house, where she lived at. She lived in the country where it was basically very isolated. There wasn't a lot going on back there except for the cornfield behind her house. Across the street, same thing, another cornfield that stretched for miles and miles up. And then on the left side of her house, there was a creek that sustained a lot of natural life. Over the years, there were deers back there, rabbits, groundhogs, beavers, crayfish, all kinds of birds, owls, hawks, red-tailed hawks. So for us, nature, being outside was our entertainment, because when you're living somewhere where there's not a whole lot going on, not a whole lot of other kids, your entertainment is your environment. And for us, it was her yard. So that's number one. And then also, growing up, where our actual house outside of my grandma's house, at the end of our street, there was a true forest. And what I remember about it more than anything is the one time that I actually walked the entire length of it from my hometown to the next town over. And it was just, it was amazing to me to see how life sustained itself without the help of mankind. When you first started into it, the soil level was like harder, more coarse. But the more that you started walking under the canopy of trees or whatever, due to the leaves falling and turning into mulch, it almost turned into its own type of soil. And it was amazing to me just to see that without mankind doing anything, that life was still able to be life, and everything served a purpose. And then just real quickly, we used to watch Wild America. That was a very popular show back in the 80s. And every week would be a spotlight on a different type of animal, whether it was aquatic animals or birds, and then of course land animals. So for me, that was just always something that no matter how old I got, I never forgot about it, because it was such a major part of my life. So this particular YouTube channel, Earth Boy of the Sun and Rain, it's basically gonna be ways to just kind of appreciate nature. I'm not a person that always uses, the correct technical talk, or I don't know, scientific explanations. I don't know everything. I'm just going to use this channel as a voice, for people who are passionate about what you see behind me, all these plants, the fish. And of course, eventually it will steamroll into other things. I'm an ex-minister, a youth preacher, so a person like me, you have to have a passion for people, and also, you want to be able to inspire people to be their best, and having a connection with the Almighty, God Almighty. You want to be able to spread that, and that's something that I do. And I guess nature is my way of staying connected. I don't want to get too deep with it, but at a certain point, I lost my connection through man. So I had to turn to other things to manage to still keep that connection with God Almighty and His beautiful, beautiful creation. And that's kind of what you see behind me. But of course, it's way more than that. You know, this is just a start, you know, a beginning. So stay with me on the journey. We'll definitely be doing some, I'll be doing some cool things on here, and hopefully everybody enjoys it. So, and it's not cutting off on me yet.